Why do we need to come to FDA to get approvals for our product before we go to market? Looking at the mandate of FDA in this country, bro.
Look, yes, why do you need to come to FDA? Is a statutory requirement. When we mention food, it includes water, chewing gum, toffees, and all other foods that you are aware of. And then drugs, be it veterinary drugs or homeopathic drugs. The good news now is that FDA now has a digital platform to manage our registration process. And then you also have to indicate the manufacturing date, the expiry date, and the batch number on the product label. The batch number here is a unique code given to every product you produce. Let's say for now, since we are
Good evening to everyone, and thank you very much for joining us tonight on our regular Thursday evening program called Build to Last. Build to Last is a regular Thursday 7 to 8 p.m. entrepreneurship and business mastery class where we invite professionals to come and teach us and help us to organize our businesses to last. The main purpose for this program is to ensure that everybody that intends to start or manage or grow a very good business would come here every Thursday to learn some ideas, to learn get some experiences, and share some thoughts with people who know how to start and manage a very good business. And tonight is of no exception. Tonight we are having a very interesting conversation, a conversation that was actually triggered again because a couple of our members in our community came up and discussing with us some of the issues they have as far as they getting their FDA approvals are concerned. And we're so happy today that we have one of our very close friends who is joining us all the way from the FDA community, Ghana Food and Drugs Authority, to come and share with us what the ideas are, what we need to know for us to be able to now get the right approvals for our businesses as far as our business are concerned. Tonight, we are talking about FDA. By the way, if anybody here on the call has attempted in any way at all to have tried to register their business and the FDA and they had issues, please type your concerns in the chat box today, because I see today more of a Q&A session more than just a pure lecture. So if you have had any concerns as far as you trying to register your business, not register your business per se, in trying to get the approval of FDA for any product you have come up with and you're having issues, please type it in the chat box or along the line. We'll allow you to raise your hand or whatever, try to raise your concerns for us to answer it for you, because today is the day that you need to have all the answers to your FDA issue as far as your business is concerned. And this is very important because as far as you are in this country, if you are bringing any product that is supposed to be consumable, so that's supposed to be consumed by people, you need to ensure that you have got the right approvals, that your products are wholesome. Your products are products that people can take in and wouldn't bring them any problem. So that's why today we have thought it wise to bring our friends to us to come and share with us what we need to know as far as those processes are concerned. And before that, I would like to say thank you very much to my very good brother, Mohammed Mahi, for facilitating this process for us. We have tried ourselves already to try to get somebody from this department to come and join us, but well, my connections were not stronger, but Mohammed did a trick for us today. So Mo, we thank you so much for making this for us, this very good evening program. All right, so tonight to discuss with us about the issues about FDA is Mr. Prince Adutwum Opoku, who is the head of the enforcement unit at the FDA, Food and Drugs Authority, which is FDA at the Kumasi Regional Office. What I'm happy about is the fact that this our very close friend has more than 70 years of experience in doing this, which means that whatever it takes for you to register your business, today is the day. In fact, if you don't listen to this discussion closely and you come back to me anytime to come and ask me questions about FDA issues, me and you will fight. So today we have all that it takes for us to answer all the questions. 70 years of experience in this space, so he knows what he's talking about. More than a decade doing this means that he has a lot of experience. And then also, he holds an advanced qualification in food quality management and certificate in leadership and management in health, essential management skills, strategic management, and human resource management. These are the critical factors that I think the person we are speaking today has all that it takes for us to be able to do what we are doing tonight. So together, my dear brothers and sisters, can we all together show some emojis to welcome Mr. Prince Adutwum Opoku to join us tonight for us to discuss this very important topic about FDA and food registration in this country. Please let's show some love, show some emojis, show something, show something. Let's welcome Prince. And Prince, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Doc. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful because this issue about FDA has come to our office here severally, and we have tried to find some ways here and there to do it. But I'm happy that Mohammed was able to connect us to you for us to get this job done tonight. And I'm so grateful that you're making time, even though you have closed and you're supposed to be preparing for the weekend, a long, very long weekend. You decided to join us tonight. Bro, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for joining us.
Most welcome, Doc.
Great. So I said a bit about you, but just before we start the ball rolling again, what has been your experience as far as working with the FDA and getting entrepreneurs to register their products are concerned?
Okay, Doc. Good evening once again to you and my audience. And thank you for the opportunity to share my knowledge and experiences with your audience. It's been a pleasant experience. Working into FDA to work as a regulatory officer, my perception right from university, I joined the institution right after national service. And so then I was not so much into business. I had come out of university, finished my national service. I didn't do my national service with FDA. I did it elsewhere, but right after service, I got the opportunity to join FDA. So going into FDA or going there to work, I didn't have that entrepreneurial mindset. But then when I got in there, I got to understand what entrepreneurs go through to have their product registered. And so that is why I decided to make time to get this done, because over the 17 years of working with FDA, I've come to realize that most people don't really know the registration requirements, what it takes to have products registered with FDA. And so they get frustrated along the line. Sometimes they are almost there, but because of the hassles they've gone through from day one until they are almost there, they tend to give up. The process can be so frustrating to people just because they don't know what they need to do to get it done. But it's a simple process. It's not complicated as people may want it to seem. And sometimes too, what I've also witnessed or what I've also come to realize is that most people tend to listen to people than to come to FDA. There are people posing themselves around as middlemen, and then they make it seem like when you go to FDA, it's so impossible to get it done. It's so complicated. You don't have to go there. You can't do it. And so let me get it done for you. These guys tend to charge exorbitant fees. But this evening, I'll mention some of the fees, and I know you come to realize that it's not any money that you need to get your product registered. So it's been a pleasant experience. It's opened my eyes, my understanding, to also appreciate entrepreneurs and to offer my support whenever they need be. As I said earlier, reason why immediately I had the call that I needed to do this, I blocked all other things and said, yes, I'll get it done. And truly, I'm here this evening to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince. My dear friends, let us show some appreciation to Prince. He says that he blocked everything else just because he understands the frustrations entrepreneurs go through to just register their product to go to market. And if he's spending his time tonight with us to answer all these questions for us, please let us show some emojis. Let's show some love. And my heart goes out to you, Prince, for making this, because what we do here every Thursday is to come together as entrepreneurs, and we take very pertinent issues that are bothering our mind, and then we try to find answers to them. And we do this every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. And it's been an amazing journey so far. We thank God so much for what he's done for us. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the discussion unfolds, I would appreciate that you also try to type your questions in the chat box. Or if you want, you can just wait a bit. After we go a bit deeper into the conversation, you can raise your hand up. We're very glad to help you to understand this. Prince, 70 years of experience is all here for all of us tonight to solve all our issues. And don't forget that we here at HiPAG, our main focus is to help entrepreneurs and leaders and organizations to unlock the growth potential that are locked up within the companies, because we believe strongly that every person that has come up with an idea have the potential to grow that business. But what it takes to build that business is what probably sometimes is lacking. We here at HiPAG Services have prepared ourselves with a consortium of professionals who have come together to help you to build your business to last. So as the conversation goes on, you can take up our details. And if you need any help, we are here to help you to build your business to last. We would help you to start, would help you to manage, and indeed would help you to grow your business. And for the past 11 years, we've been doing this. We've been so happy with the amazing testimony we received from many people, and we are here to help you. We are a consulting of professionals, a chartered banker, a chartered accountant, a chartered marketer, and me myself need to add inside some to just help you to build your business to last. All right. My first question again, going to that conversation, is that why do we need to come to FDA to get approvals for our product before we go to market? Looking at the mandate of FDA in this country, bro.
Hey, Doc. Yes, why do you need to come to FDA? Is a statutory requirement. So FDA as an institution is set up by the Public Health Act 2012 at 851 to regulate the manufacture, distribution, sale, advertisement, importation, and exportation of certain categories of products, which includes food. And when we mention food here per the law, the Public Health Act is an act of parliament, so it's a law. That's Act 851 or Public Health Act 2012. And when we mention food, it includes water, chewing gum, toffees, and all other foods that you are aware of. And then drugs, be it veterinary drugs or homeopathic drugs or orthodox medicines, allopathic drugs, and even herbal drugs. And then cosmetics, household chemical substances, medical devices. For the cosmetics, I'll give some few examples. The perfumes we are applying on our bodies, and then our deodorants, all of them are classified as cosmetics. We have the household chemical substances, which includes our detergents we are using in the washroom, our washing powders, our laundry soaps. They are also classified under household chemicals. Then we have our medical devices. Typical examples are rapid diagnostic test kits, condoms, and then classified under medical devices. So the Public Health Act and biological products, which include blood and blood products. The Public Health Act mandates the FDA that if anybody wants to go into the manufacture of these products, the product, whether you are going to manufacture it locally or you want to import it from outside our country into Ghana, the product must first be registered by FDA before you can put it on the market. And so going through FDA registration is a mandatory legal requirement per the law that establishes FDA. So it's not negotiable. It is not like you have the luxury to decide whether you want to do it or not. You are mandated. If whatever you want to put on the market falls within the broad categories of products I mentioned earlier, then you are mandated by law to go through registration with FDA before the product can be put on the market.
Oh, wow, interesting. So it means that there are a lot of products we are actually using in terms of the food, water, drugs, cosmetics, household chemicals, and medical devices. If for any reason the person hasn't got your approval for human beings to buy and use by law, they are criminals.
Exactly, Doc.
Wow. Okay. All right. So now we know clearly why we all of us need to make sure that if your product fall under any of these categories, food, water, drugs, both animal and human, orthodox and herbal, cosmetics, household chemicals, and the detergents and the powdered soap that we use in the homes, and the medical devices. If you are an entrepreneur and you're on the call right now and you belong to the Built to Last community, please today know that you must get the approval of FDA before you go ahead to the market to sell. Anything devoid of this, you are going against the law, and the law will come after you. Now, just as when we started talking, we were saying that both of us actually said that there are some frustration that people go through in order to do this. So it means that there are people who have noticed that yes, indeed, they need to get these products registered, but they've gone through certain experiences based on which they said, okay, my brother, let me give you. What do you think are the critical issues in there, and what should we need to do as far as we entrepreneurs are concerned, especially looking at the fact that you are very passionate to ensuring that every single individual goes through the right process and gets legally done?
Okay, Doc. So if I get your question clearly, at this point, you want us to go into the registration requirements?
Yes, but just before that, you mentioned earlier on about some of the frustration that people go through. I would appreciate if you could mention one or two critical frustration processes. Is it about the bringing the product to you? Is it going through some testing that is frustrating? Is it a documentation? What exactly are the issues in there? Then we can now jump into what we
Yes.
need to do then to get it done the right way.
Okay, Doc. So, Doc, the frustration I've observed is, the registration requirements comes with some documentation. And so if people don't have a clear idea, the kind of documents or the type of documents they need to submit to us, they jump into the process, and halfway into the process, they get frustrated. Then it comes like they get to our office today and they get to know that they should have brought this. They go back and then bring it, and then it comes up along the line that this other document is also needed. And so it looks like the back and forth become one too many for them. And that is where the frustration sets in. And then another source of frustration is when it comes to the label for the product. What is required by law to be on the label. Most people don't know. And sometimes because they themselves are not the ones designing the label from scratch, and someone else may have to get it done for them. Even when they get to the office and we communicate to them what they have to do, because they are now going to pass on that information to another person to get it done. Sometimes, information as it moves from one person to the other gets distorted. And so they are not able to communicate exactly as we want it. And then by the time they return the label to us, you realize that what you said has been misinterpreted. And so they are not able to do it as expected. And then they get frustrated because for one label, somebody can't be moving back and forth several times just to get it right. And it is not as if we are just stressing entrepreneurs, but it's a legal requirement. When you pick any product label, there are some mandatory information that must be on the label before we can go ahead and register the product. And so when these minimum legal requirements on the label have not been met, we cannot process the application for final approval. And so some interventions, by years of experience, some interventions have been put in place to address all these things, to cut down the back and forth. And so as we delve into the registration process, I'll mention some of them.
Great. I really appreciate what you have just said about documentation, clarity, and then labeling. In fact, one of the persons that I spoke to about a month ago, she actually came to our office and complained about the fact that one of the things I was doing for her was to make sure that she registered her product. He registered his product. So he came last 2 months or so, and then I noticed he hasn't done it. So I asked him why, and he said, "Bradley, made about bro, back and forth, no dorsal." Then I asked him why. He said, "And I feel required of graphic design and papa." Well, I understood his frustration. This is somebody who wants to do the right things. So I'm sure maybe he's probably will be on the call tonight for us to answer all these things. Now, I'm sure these and many more are the issues that come with the frustration. Quickly, would you want to describe to me the difference between the labeling and packaging as far as FDA's regulations are concerned?
Okay, Doc, when you say labeling and packaging, I don't know in terms of packaging if you are looking at the material that is in direct contact with the product.
Okay, that could be because I'm asking this because you said the labeling descriptions, there are specific things that we need to do. Then maybe what we have to probably do is that let's go straight into now what do we need to do?
Yes.
I'm sure maybe along the line this answers to come in as we discuss this. Yeah.
Some things will be ironed out.
Exactly. So let's go straight into what do we need to do. Now we want to have hassle-free FDA approvals for every product that we have. What do we need to do?
Okay, Doc. So to make it hassle-free, as you put it, before you go into any product registration with the FDA, these are the requirements, the documents you need. And to make it easier, currently in my office, we sat as management, reviewed our registration process, and identified some of the things that bring the frustration along the line. We realized that most of the clients come in, and even when client service has informed them of the requirements, the thing they need to bring to get the product registered, conveniently, they choose to bring them one after the other. So the person will come to the office today, drop one document, go back, sit for 2-3 weeks, return to the office again with another document. They bring them in bits and pieces. And every document you submit to us we need to review the document. And so you bring one document today, it is reviewed. There are some corrections you may have to do. You go back, get it done. Then you sit and come back another time with another document. The document will be reviewed. You may have some corrections to be done. So you realize that the person is moving back and forth out of our office. And it gets to a point that the one that your good friend told you that Bratiki made them a break. We've been hearing it. So currently what we've decided is that if you come to the office, client service will let you know all the requirements. And it is expected that on your next visit, before you can kickstart, all the documents we have made you aware, you must bring them at once. The opportunity in here for you is that when you submit all the documents, which I'll go into, all the documents are evaluated at a go by registration unit. They evaluate every document you have done and generate a report on the evaluation of the documents, so that when that is done, we will place a call to you to come for a response to the application you brought to us. Because you brought all the documents at a go, when you come, the feedback we are giving to you touches on every document, so that when you go back, and this time there's a written report, unlike before where it will be communicated verbally to you, everything has been put on paper. So when you come, the client service officers will sit with you, go through all the reports that we have generated relating to the earlier documents you submitted to us, so that when you go back, you also have the opportunity to address them once and for all. So it's not like before where you brought a label, we will evaluate, you come for the label, then you bring the corrected label, then maybe the next day you bring the certificate of analysis. We'll look at the certificate of analysis and you need to make some corrections. You have to go back to the lab, let them get, sometimes you get a COA from the lab, and some parameters as defined by the Ghana standard were not analyzed. So it means that the applicant will have to go back to the lab for them to do the right thing. So now, if you brought all these documents at a go, and then evaluation of all the documents have been done once, when you get the report, it is touching on every document and what you need to do, so that when you go back, you have the report with you to serve as a guide for you to address all the concerns raised, compared to either to where it's one after the other and you are moving back and forth, so that on your next visit, when you are bringing the correct documents or the revised documents, it means that every document, whatever concerns were raised about it, has been addressed. So you submit the feedback once and it cuts down the back and forth. So what are the documents that I'm talking about? If you want to register any product with the FDA, the first document that you need is a registered business certificate from Registrar's General Department. So you need to first visit the Registrar's General Department and register your company. Many times we have received calls from applicants where they are telling us that when they went to Registrar's General Department, the name they want to ascribe to the product is different from the company name Registrar's General Department is proposing for them, because some of the applicants have in mind that their company name should be the same as their product name. It is not mandatory. The company name can be different from the product name. But what we should take note here is that Registrar's General Department controls the company name. That is their work. It is not the work of FDA. Rather, FDA also have oversight responsibility or complete responsibility over the name you are giving to the product. So when you go to Registrar's General Department, maybe when you were planning, you had in mind that you name your product this way and it should correspond with the name of the company. When you get to Registrar's General Department, they go into their database and then find out that probably that name has been used by someone already and you have to amend the name there. Please go ahead and get it done. It is not mandatory for your company name to be the same as your product name. So when it comes to the determination of the company name, that is under the purview of Registrar's General Department. So you have your company registered. After registering your company, or I will not use after, whilst going through the company registration, another document you need to think of is the label for the product. Every product that you want to put on the market must have a label. The label is the source of information for the consumer. And so there are some mandatory information according to LI 1541 that must be on the product. And some of the information that is expected to be on the product, the mandatory information, one is the name of the product. Every product you are putting on the market must have a name. And so when you bring any label, we expect to see the name of the product on the label. We expect to see the name and address of the manufacturer of the product. So whatever company manufactured the product, the name of the company must be there, and the address of the company for traceability purpose must also be on the label. And the contact number of the manufacturer should also be on the label for traceability purpose. Again, we are expecting to see the storage condition of the product, every product and the storage condition. Some products will have to be kept frozen. Some products can also be kept at room temperature. So you are the manufacturer of the product. You know your product better. It is on you. It is responsible. It is your responsibility to inform consumers who will be patronizing your product as to how they will have to keep the product to maintain the quality of the product within the shelf life of the product. And so that information must be on the label. And then you also have to indicate the manufacturing date, the expiry date, and the batch number on the product label. The batch number here is a unique code given to every product you produce. Let's say for now, since we are dealing with small and medium enterprises, let me say on a daily basis. But when you move to the big companies, within a day, they can do more batches. But maybe at our level, the products we are able to produce within a day, they must all have a unique identity, so that in case the product hits the market and whilst in trade there is any issue, we can use the batch number for traceability purpose to know that this is what we are looking out for in trade. Let me give you a classic example. Probably you started production January 2026. And so you've been producing, your product is registered. So you've been producing, no issues. And then somewhere you did a production, it got on the market, and then it was detected later that the product you have put in trade has issues. There's a problem with the product. Probably people took the product and there's a foodborne outbreak because of your product. And now because of this incident, we will need to recall the products from trade, because it's problematic. It's causing issues. It's giving people reactions, and or it's giving us foodborne outbreaks. And therefore, one of the steps we need to take is to remove the product from the market. That is when we say we are doing a recall. Now, you started producing from January until May that the problem surfaced. Do we go out there and say that we are recalling every product you have put on the market since January, provided that the products from January to May, all of them are within their valid shelf life, and there are still some of them on the market? No. From January till April, even in the month of May, it could not be that your entire production for May has a problem. It could be a specific day. And so that is when we have to rely on the batch number for that day to put the communication out there that this is the product of interest that we are recalling. And so it is not as if all products coming from this manufacturer has a problem. So the batch number basically helps us to trace, is for traceability purpose. And so you need to, the manufacturing date, the expiry date, and the batch number are also very, very critical information that you need to give to your consumers. And then another requirement is the list of ingredients. If the product is a single ingredient product, let's say water, our bottled water and sachet water, it's a single ingredient product. And so it is not mandatory to declare the ingredients. Or let's say peanuts. You are putting roasted peanut on the market. The product is basically peanut. You have not added salt, you have not added sugar. It's just peanut. And in that case, since it's a single ingredient product, it is not mandatory to declare the ingredient. But where you have more than one ingredient coming together to give you the product, the list of ingredients must be declared on the label. The reason is that one reason why we need to declare the list of ingredients is for allergenicity. People react to certain ingredients, and therefore, once you declare as a manufacturer that these are the components of my product, then you take the responsibility from you to the consumer. The onus is on me, the consumer, to read the label and know that the product contains these ingredients which I'm allergic to, and therefore I'm not supposed to take it. If you hide any ingredient from the consumer by way of not declaring, and then the consumer takes the product and there's any reaction, you, the manufacturer, becomes liable. So it is also important that you declare all ingredients in the product on the label as part of the labeling requirement. So let me recap the labeling requirements again. The name of the product must be there. The list of ingredients must be there. The storage condition of the product must be there. The net weight or net volume of the product must be there. And then the name and address of the manufacturer, including the telephone number, must be there. The manufacturing date must be there. The expiry date must be there. And the batch number must also be there. Doc, I hope I'm not moving too fast.
Very perfect. I'm very okay here. I'm really taking those as well. So we are on track. Please go.
Okay.
Well, just before you go on then, so ladies and
right.
gentlemen, we are talking about hassle-free FDA approvals and registration. Everything that you need to know to be able to make sure that the product you are producing is approved by FDA. All that we are trying to do today is to avoid all the hassles we've been complaining about. So get ready with your questions, get ready with all your comments. And if for any reason you have had a very successful registration, we would want to take your testimony. Want to hear from you as well. I mean, Prince and his people are not that bad people. I'm sure they're doing very good things there. Want to also hear the good side of these things. If you have had a very good experience, please also be ready to share that experience with us. We're very glad to hear that as well. Please, you may please take over and go on.
Okay, thank you, Doc. So I've mentioned the business registration certificate and the label. The other document I'll touch on is the medical certificates for the workers, the food handlers test certificates. It's also a requirement. And so that is not issued by the FDA, but by the various assemblies, the district and municipal assemblies. So depending on where your company is located, the assembly within that vicinity takes charge of the food handlers test or the medical certificates. So you will need to visit the environmental health department of the assembly. Once you get there, you make them aware that you want to register your product at the FDA, and then you've been asked to come and get the medical cards for your workers. They will take you through their formalities. And at the end of the day, the workers that will pass their screening, they will be issued with the medical cards. And so it is also a requirement. And then, so the business registration certificate, the label, the food handlers test certificate. Another document you will need is the certificate of analysis or the lab analysis report for the product. And so as part of the requirement, you need to submit sample of the product you want to put on the market or you want to register at a lab. And there are reference labs for FDA. So in Ashanti region, where I work, one of our reference lab is KNUST. When you bring lab analysis from any of the departments in KNUST, specifically for now, we've been working with biological science, that is Department of Theoretical and Applied Biology, and food science lab. But I know that any of the labs at KNUST, when you bring your COA or lab report from any of these departments, it is accepted. Aside KNUST, you can visit Food Research Institute, but they're outside the region. It means FRI, Accra, Ghana Standard Authority, Accra, and then CSIR, Accra. Any of these institutions, when you bring their lab analysis report to us, it is accepted. So you also need a lab analysis report to cover the product you want to register. These 4 documents are documents that you have to bring in. The other documents are your FDA filled forms for the product. And then when we talk about the FDA filled forms, it's a 2-in-1. One is for the product and one is for the facility that you'll be manufacturing from. In most cases, what entrepreneurs have in mind is that they are coming to register their product. But every product you want us to register for you will be coming from a manufacturing facility. So we don't register the product and lose sight of where you are manufacturing from. We move the two together. So whilst registering your product for you, we also have to make sure that wherever the product is being manufactured from, it's also compliant with good manufacturing practices. And so your manufacturing facility is also taken into consideration. And so in filling the forms, the FDA forms, there's one form for product and there's another form for facility. And then in addition to the forms, you also have to attach your application letters. So just as we have 2 forms, the letters must be 2. One letter for product registration and the other letter for facility licensing. And all the letters must be addressed to the Chief Executive Officer, Food and Drugs Authority. All the 2 letters, you address them to the CEO, Food and Drugs Authority. So these are the documents you need to have before you come to the office. If you are coming to the office with all these set of documents, you are good to go. So when you submit all these documents to us, this is what I was saying, that we evaluate all these documents at a go and then give you a report. That is, after evaluation, if there are issues for you to address as far as any of these documents are concerned, it is put in a report and then it is given back to you. If there are no issues, we still write and acknowledge receipt of your application and then let you know the next step for you to take. Hitherto, as I said, people were bringing these documents one after the other. And when they submit and there are issues, we will address it singly. You go back, correct it, bring that single document, and then maybe in 2 weeks' time, the person will bring the second document. We will look at it. Then maybe there are issues. The person will have to go back. So, document, and your audience will agree with me. I've mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 documents.
Yeah.
If you are bringing all these documents one after the other, and for each of them, there may be guys you don't even get it addressed once, and so that was what was bringing the back and forth. And now we sat as management and decided that all these documents must come at a go. Now the good news now is that FDA now has a digital platform to manage our registration process. So you don't have to physically walk to our office to submit these documents that I've mentioned. Currently, our digital platform is the JFEMS. So when you go online, when you search on Google JFEMS, when you type JFEMS, this digital platform will pop up, and the JFEMS interface allow our clients or applicants to process the application whilst out of our office in the comfort of their homes. Wherever you find yourself, you can go there and then go through the registration just as you would have brought this to the office. So that when you're able to do all these uploads on the JFM, and then you can do your payment. But let's assume, okay, so then let me move the next stage. If you were physically coming to the office, when you submit all these aforementioned documents, the next thing will be for you to pay your fees, the applicable fees. You make payment for the applicable fees. The applicable fees, it depends on the category that or the skill on which your company is placed. So depending on the skill, it tells us how much you have to pay. And how do we determine the skill? The skill is determined by one, when the client service officers interact with you, they get a fair idea of the size of the company. We get a fair idea of your potential production output. The number of workers that you are recruiting also give us a fair idea. And then when all these are put together, we are able to decide on the skill for you. And the skill determines how much you have to pay. To err on the side of caution, the minimum skill is always considered first, because government fees are not refundable. So that if you pay the minimum, as I mentioned earlier, we will have to visit your manufacturing facility. So when we conduct the on-site inspection and we realize that you paid less, you are bigger than how much you pay, there's opportunity for you to top up. But if you overpay, because we cannot refund, that is why we always put you on the lower scale, so that if there's the need for us to upgrade you, we will upgrade you. So let's say you are put on a cottage. If you are put on a cottage scale, and here I'm using food product as an example. So if you are put on a cottage scale for food product, the product registration fee will be 300 Ghana cedis for 3 years. All our product registration fees are taken for 3 years. And the facility licensing fees are taken for just 1 year. So the facility licenses are renewable every year, whilst product registration is for 3 years. Hitherto, we're taking the product and facility for 3 years, but then we review the facility license to a yearly basis, just so it will afford us the opportunity to visit every manufacturing facility at least once in a year to find out the practices going on there, to ensure whatever the company is doing is in line with good manufacturing practices. So facility licensing fee are valid for 1 year, and product registration fees are for 3 years. So as I said, if you are put on the scale of cottage, the product registration is 300 Ghana cedis, and the corresponding facility licensing fee is 100 Ghana cedis, renewable every year. If the other scale is the small scale, so from cottage, you come to small. So if you are put on a small scale, as I said earlier, this is for food. I'm just using the food as an example. So if you are put on a small scale, the product registration fee will be 600 Ghana cedis for 3 years. And the corresponding facility licensing fee will be 200 Ghana cedis, renewable every year. So every year you pay 200. But for the product registration fee, not until 3 years, you don't do payment. From cottage small, we have the medium scale. Medium scale, the product registration fee is 900 Ghana cedis for 3 years, and the facility is 300 1 year. And then the last one, the biggest of all the scale, is the last scale, which is 1,500 Ghana cedis for 3 years. The last scale applies to companies like Casapreco, Trillium, Guinness, and so you can imagine how much we are charging them. That's why I said earlier that yes, it's money, but if you even compare our fees to what other government institutions are taking, you realize that our fees are manageable. So for the last scale, the largest of all the scales, the product registration fee is 1,500 Ghana cedis for 3 years, and the facility fee is 700 Ghana cedis, which is a yearly fee. So you do your payment, and then after the payment, we will now give you appointment where we will have to come and inspect your facility. So a date is communicated to you, and then you prepare towards the inspection. Over here, by the time you leave the office, the client service officers will take you through the GMP requirements, so that at least once leaving the office, you have a fair idea what the team of inspectors will be coming to do at your facility, what they will be coming to look at towards the inspection. And then on the day of inspection, a team is assigned to inspect your facility. After the inspection, if you are successful, if there are no issues for you to address, if your facility is found to be GMP compliant, then you move to the last stage of the process, where you need to submit some information. But then when the inspection is observations made, the deficiencies found during the inspection are critical or major non-compliances, you have to address them before you can bring the samples for submission. But then sometimes you cannot pass, you cannot get 100%. But sometimes some of the observations or deficiencies found during the inspection may be minor. They are not critical or major issues. If they are not critical or major issues, yes, we can still afford you the opportunity to submit your samples so as you take time to address them. And so going through the registration processes, this is how it flows. Until the inspection is done, we've satisfied ourselves that your facility is GMP compliant, and then you'll be asked to bring your sample for final approval. So the sample is submitted to us. Unfortunately, we don't have a lab. When the samples are submitted, the samples will have to be forwarded to head office, where it will be sent to our lab for our lab to also do another analysis to confirm the first report you brought from the lab. Okay, so the first analysis you did, maybe from KNUST, from food research, the expectation was that the expectation is that that analysis should have come from your lab, the company conduct that analysis. But we know that most of our companies are startups, and that's their site. And so you outsource it. So once you bring the final samples to us, we also send it to FDA lab to do a confirmatory analysis of the first lab report you brought to us. And then after a successful lab analysis, a successful outcome, then the product can be registered. Our registration is valid for 3 years, as I mentioned earlier. Now, when you submit the final samples to us, there are 3 outcomes. You can have your registration approved, where you get your approval number without any issue. There's something we call the conditional approval. Conditional approval, yes. After you submitted everything, after the final analysis, maybe some observations were made, some gaps were identified. But if those gaps do not border on food safety, you'll be given your marketing authorization, your approval, all right, and you'll be given opportunity to respond to or to try and close those gaps. So that is what we call a conditional approval. You've been given your approval, all right, but you still have some minor issues to address. So you are given a period of, let's say, 3 months to address them, and then you have your final certificate. But at this point, you get your approval number, which makes it possible for you to put the product on the market. Then the third option is deferral. That is a rejection. After a thorough evaluation, probably in most cases, you know that all the documents have been screened earlier, but you submitted the final sample, which I've said that we will be sending to the FDA lab to do a confirmatory analysis. If the lab analysis turn out not to be successful, so you know that the lab analysis, the outcome of lab analysis is a safety issue. So when we test the product at our lab and we find out that it does not conform to the applicable Ghana standard, you cannot get any approval, whether conditional or a complete or a straight approval. So that is where we defer the registration, more like a rejection. But when a registration is deferred, it doesn't mean you cannot address the concerns and resubmit. You have the opportunity to address the concerns identified and do a resubmission, for which will also go through the same process. It will be tested again, and if this time we get a satisfactory lab outcome, then the product can be considered for registration. But all this manual process that I've touched on, as I said, we now have a digital platform where you can sit at the comfort of your home. The documents I mentioned earlier, you have to create your email address, go onto the system, and upload all these documents over there. The form, you wouldn't have to upload the form. You instead of filling the form manually, the digital platform will force you the opportunity to fill the form there. And some documents like the business registration certificate, the medical cards, the lab analysis report, and then your application letters, you upload them on the digital platform. Once you do the upload at your end, it then moves to an interface which is accessible to the regulatory officers, that is FDA staff, for us to continue processing the application from there. It gives you the opportunity to do your payment online, which will all be uploaded in the system. So that when this is done, the only thing that will bring you to our office is when you have to come and submit the samples to us so that it can be forwarded off to the head office. When you do an online submission, whatever you have provided, the information you have provided there are also screened, just as the physical submission of the documents are screened. The online submission gives us the opportunity to also screen the document. So when the documents are going through screening, if there are queries for you to address, the platform also affords us the opportunity to give you the feedback so that you have to correct them on the system. Then we can move the registration process. But then what I've touched on so far is the normal application, which has the FDA has a period of 3 months to give you a feedback. That is, the 3 months doesn't count from when you started the process. It counts from when you submitted the final sample. So when you submit the final sample to us, we have a period of 3 months to give you a feedback on your application, on the application you have submitted to us. But then we also have the premium or express window. So the premium or the express window, what the only thing different here is the amount you pay and the timeline. Whilst the normal application takes 3 months from the date of submission of your final sample, when you do the premium application, in every fee I mentioned earlier, if you do a premium application, you pay 3 times the product registration fee. So if you want to do premium, it means that the applicable product registration fee, you pay 3 times. And once you pay 3 times the applicable product registration fee, we have within 15 working days, that is 3 weeks, to give you a feedback on your application. So, Doc, my audience, for now, let me hold it here. Maybe questions afterwards will broaden the discussion. But if I'm to go through the registration process, as I was tasked to do, these are the FDA registration requirements for product registration.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we show some love to Prince, please? Please, let's show some appreciation. This is 17 years of knowledge and experience poured out to you in just under 30 minutes. Please show some love, show some love, show some love, show some love. We could all attest to the fact that what that he's telling us is really, really the summary of everything that needs to be done as far as your business registration with FDA are concerned. Please show some love, show some love. So at this point, we are going to ask you now to start asking your questions, because I know there are a lot of questions that are going to come in tonight. And I'll be very glad that by the time we finish, everyone's question is answered, and then we can all go ahead and have all our approvals done, and then we can now go to market with our products. Because as entrepreneurs, our belief and our passion is to get the product to the final consumer to solve their problems or to enjoy the products. If you have them now, let us get the right information to get the job done. All right. Michael says that thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation. Yeah, indeed, it was. I really appreciate that as well. Okay. All right. So I have a question from Zainab. Your hand is up. Please go ahead. Can you unmute your microphone, Zainab?
Hi, Doc. Good evening.
Good evening, Zainab.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and this platform you created. I want to know about detergent manufacturers. What information do we need? What do we have to know? Anything we need to know about the FDA process if you manufacture detergent, the bleach, the
liquid soaps.
soap, yes, the
Okay,
afterwash, and all things I want to know.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. So, Prince, let's take the second question, and then we'll now take the two at the same time. So, Letitia, please go ahead. Thank you very much. Can you unmute your microphone?
Good evening, Doug.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you very much for today's meeting. I'm very grateful. Please, I want to ask a question. My question is that I want to ask Mr. Opoku that why is it that when FDA call off a product from the market, and then when the product is back to the market, they don't inform us. We don't see any information from them about the product again. You will be there, and then you all of a sudden you start seeing the product again in the market. You go to their website, you will not see any information about them being accepting the product back. So please, you should clarify that part for me.
Great. Thank you very much, Letitia. All right. So please, let's take the two questions, and then we'll continue from there.
Okay, Doc. So with the first question, the detergent registration requirements. Doc, apart from the fees, which would differ as per product category, all the other things I mentioned are generic. They are applicable to every regulated product, except that for cosmetics and household chemical substances, if you are manufacturing it locally, you won't need a COA. Unlike the other products that you will need a certificate of analysis from any of our reference labs. If you are doing detergent or cosmetic or household chemical substances, you don't need a COA, a lab analysis report, as part of the registration requirements. And then, but all the other requirements I mentioned are applicable. And also, another thing that will change will be the fee. As I said, for the fees, I use the food as an example because I'm more conversant with that of the food. But then we can chat back though after the presentation, and then if she wants to know the fee applicable to cosmetics, I'll get it for her. Then the other one about when we recall products from trade and you see the product back on the market, I will say we should be cautious because ordinarily, just as she said, if FDA puts out a statement there to recall or ban a product from the market, if for any reason the product will have to get back into trade, we will have to communicate sale. And so if a product has been recalled from trade and then the product is found in trade again, I think we will have to tread cautiously, and we even want to find out from FDA if we have allowed the product back on the market. But then, if you also recall what I said earlier, in recalling a product doesn't mean that the entire product in trade is questionable.
Yeah.
It will depend on the reason for the recall. If a batch of a product was recalled, it doesn't mean that other batches of the same product in trade has been affected. And so the other batches are free to be on the market. And so it will depend on the reason or the rationale behind the recall. If it's a ban, now, currently we know that since from May this year, FDA has issued a statement that all mixed drinks. The mixed drinks are drinks that contain stimulants and alcohol. The energy drinks that are laced with alcohol. Before FDA was registering these products, we did a post-registration assessment and realized that no, these products are not supposed to be on the market. So currently, all mixed drinks containing alcohol and stimulants are banned from May. They are not supposed to be on the market. If you are seeing these products on the market, we have not come up with any statement again to reposition ourselves from the earlier statement we put out there. And so when you see such a product, if you look at the reason behind the ban, ordinarily, we should not expect the product on the market. It didn't have to do with a batch. It had to do with the product itself. And so that product is not supposed to be on the market. And when we find such product back on the market, you need to inform FDA. You can find out from us whether we have allowed the product to be on the market. Probably something is happening at our blind side. And as we always say, regulation is a shared responsibility. There are more consumers than regulators within every space. And therefore, that is why we do a lot of public education, public sensitization to empower consumers, because once we empower consumers, they become an asset for the regulator. So when we see some of these things, I will say that, please, let's get back to the regulator and then ask questions. Probably something is happening at our blind side, and per your information, we will be able to address the issue or get such products out of the market again. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. Good answers there. All right, let's go to Emanuela. Can you unmute your microphone, please?
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Emanuela.
Yes, please. For the things you said, I've done everything. I submitted last year, November. They came to inspect the place and everything. I've gotten the facility, but the products itself, since last year, I've not gotten it. I go to the office. They said they updated their system. They are going to get back to Accra and get almost every week I go there. That's the same thing they tell me. Even this Monday, I met the original manager, the same thing. So I'm asking, I asked them whether I should resubmit. They said no. So right now, I also need the number to get my work going. So what do I do now? Because I'm a little bit confused with the whole thing.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Emanuela. All right, Prince.
Yes, Emanuela, let me, you've met my original head though, but let me on behalf of the institution render an apology for you for what you find yourself in, the situation you find yourself in currently. And it is true, the feedback you had from the office is the genuine position. As I said, we are now migrating from our earlier platform onto a broader digital platform. I guess is your product a food product?
Emanuela?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yogurt.
It's a food product. Yes. So from the last quarter of last year, we moved our registration from our earlier digital platform, which is the PFS, onto a new digital platform, which is the JFEMS. And our migration from our old platform to the new one has caused a lot of delays as far as food product registration is concerned. The reason is that the PFS was used to manage only food product registration, but the JFEM is able to host registration for all the regulated products. And so that was one of the reasons why we migrated onto the JFEM. And then the earlier platform, the old platform, which is the PFS, doesn't have an interface for our applicants, our clients. But the JFEM has an interface where our clients or applicants can sit at the comfort of their homes and then put in an application. The migration from the PFS onto the JFEM we started the migration from last quarter of last year, and it has caused a lot of inconveniences and delays as far as food product registration is concerned. That is why I was even able to hazard the guys that your product might be a food product. But after the call, kindly WhatsApp me the details of your company, the name of the company and the product, and then let's still pursue it in the course of next week, and let's see what comes out of it. But it is not something peculiar to you alone. It's a challenge we are trying to resolve, and day in, day out, efforts are being made to get it resolved. You are not in it alone, so let me apologize for that.
Right, Prince, thank you so much, and I'm honestly very humbled with your submissions. And many times when we have had regulators coming here, you could see how genuinely you guys really want to help. But I think it's a perception from us, the public, that has caused all these problems, that has even allowed Guru Boys to come in between and be causing all kinds of problems for us. But I really appreciate your level of humility, and as far as your organization is concerned, to get some of the issues ironed out. Thank you very much. So as the discussion unfolds, you could kindly send me your number, and I'll let Lizzie drop it on the chat box so that everybody who wants to contact you would kindly do that as well. All right, so let's go to Scholastica. Oh, Scholastica, it's been such a long time. Please kindly unmute your microphone and go ahead with your question. And Scholastica.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, good evening. Oh.
Good evening. It's been quite a while anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to find out from him that does it mean that every item or product you send from analysis to FDA, they test it again? I want a confirmation on that.
Yeah, because
And
there are two levels. The first one you said was the report you take to their regulators. No, they are referred, what do you call it? They are reference labs, and then you bring a
yes,
final sample again. Okay, so
yes,
we'll get that clarity. Thank you very much. I think you
yes,
had a second question too.
Yes, the second question is that I recently they visited my facility, that's the facility people,
Yeah.
and they asked me to do something that I've been thinking about it. I'm not getting answers to it. They asked me where I buy the bottle that I use for honey and oil. And then I told them, and then they asked me about the pouches I was using. Then they ask that I go to those companies to go and take their certificate to send to them. So after carefully thinking about it, I was like, they are the regulators. These are two big companies that mainly about, if I'm not exaggerating, over 50% of these small scale industries, they are using their packaging and their bottles. So why is it that you want the client to go and take their certificate? And I was told that if I go and they are not minding me, then I should come and tell them, which of course I don't understand. So I want to ask him, why that? Why is it that they don't make sure that they also do the right thing? They have the FDA. And then when I mention that I'm purchasing from there and there, you know that, oh, they have also done everything that they need to do. But you are rather asking me, the client, to go to this big company to go and ask for their certificate to come and show you as part of the queries.
Great.
It beats my understanding. Thank you.
Great question, Scholastica. Thank you very much. Okay, Prince, this is very deep. So let's take those two questions and we can go on with it.
Okay, Doc, so it's an interesting question. So, Doc, every product that you submit for registration, we are supposed to also test and confirm the initial lab analysis you brought to us. And then to a second question.
No, just before you go to the second question.
I'm not so sure if...
Prince, just before you go to the second question, but when you mentioned those things, I actually noted it here to ask you a question on that. Because you gave us reference labs, which are KNUST Food, Department of Food Science, and then Food and Drugs Authority, Ghana Standards Board, CSRI, and all these are government-regulated departments that are also credible, right? So if I took my samples to them and they gave me a report that is confirming my product, why do I need to come back again after submitting all these documents to bring another sample to you again, to take to your lab again to go and confirm? Isn't that repetition?
It is not, Doc. It's a confirmatory test. So you brought an initial lab analysis, and FDA will have to also confirm. So it's a confirmatory test.
Hello, Prince. Hello, Prince. All right, I think we are... Okay, please go ahead.
It's in line with best practice.
Okay, I get it. All right, so let's...
Are you listening to me?
Well,
Yes,
we
it's
lost a
done
bit,
by
but I think
FDA.
it's
It's a
okay now.
confirmatory analysis, and it's in line with best practices. That okay.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
so I'm saying that the decision that you should submit final samples for FDA to test is a confirmatory analysis. We are confirming the initial lab analysis you brought to us, and it is in line with best practices within the regulatory space. And then to the second one, she was saying my colleagues asked her to bring a certificate from the company producing the packaging material.
Yes.
I doubt if they requested for a certificate. What we expect of manufacturers is that you need to put the control of you need to put your raw materials under your control. And in putting your raw materials under your control, it is expected that whoever is giving you raw materials, you would have visited it. First of all, you should have specifications, preferences, how you want your raw materials.
Oh, I think we lost Prince. He will be back with us very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing the issues about having a hassle-free FDA approvals and registration. And if you have listened carefully from the beginning up to now, you might have learned a lot. There are, think about, from what I've got here, about 11 stages that every single individual that wants to take a product to market here in Ghana must go through before your product is accepted, and then you can now go to market with it. The first one is your business certification. You must register that. Number 2 is your labeling. Number 3 is the medical certification for the people that are going to sell the food, what they call the food handler certificate, which must be done at the district assembly or maybe the municipality where you're operating from. You must also fill the FDA forms. And now,
yes, so Doc, I was saying that what we expect from manufacturers is, hello, Doc.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so I was saying that what we expect from manufacturers is for them to have the source of their materials under their control. And in having your raw materials under your control, first, you need to have defined specifications for your raw materials and packaging materials, how you want them. How you want your raw packaging materials. You need to define it, have it written down. And per this specification, you need to engage the supplier. And so the supplier will be aware of your specifications. And as part of the supplier quality assurance requirement, you also need to visit the supplier and look at the practices of the supplier. Doug, let's remember that the packaging materials are in direct contact with the products. And so if the process leading to the manufacture of the packaging materials, good hygienic practices are not considered, you have a contaminated packaging material, and which will then override all the precautions you have put in place, all the good manufacturing practices you have put in place as part of the process leading to the production of the finished product. And so it is important that the packaging material, which is coming into direct contact with your finished goods, are also produced under some hygienic conditions. And even the mode of transporting these materials into the factory is also important. So what we will mostly tell manufacturers is to also try and inspect the source of their materials at least once a year. Inspect them and look at their practices to ensure that whatever they are doing there will not compromise the safety and quality of the material they are giving to you, which will also not in turn affect your finished product. But to say you should get a certificate from them, that is where I find it quite questionable. But what is expected of the manufacturer, what is expected of Scholastica, is to have visited the packaging material manufacturing company to observe their practices to ensure of the suppliers, to ensure that whatever they are giving to her is not compromised in terms of its safety and quality, which can also have effects on her finished product. Another thing I need to also say is that the packaging material manufacturing.
Oh, please go ahead.
Okay, Doc, it's fine. It's fine. I've landed.
Okay, good. So I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I wanted to also say that
Okay, I think it's a bit delay. All right, so I was asking that do you also regulate these suppliers, these packaging suppliers? Do they also come under your umbrella to ensure that they also follow the standards we are supposed to be following? Hello,
Yeah.
Prince?
For now, no. They're
Okay,
under the regulation of Ghana Standard Authority.
okay, okay, I get it now. Scholastic, I get your questions have been answered correctly for you, if I'm right. All right.
But just a quick one,
Yes,
please.
please.
If you tell me these are big companies, so if you tell me they won't even allow you, they have their, and some of these companies are foreigners, they have a place that you can cross, you cannot cross. So even if it is a different institution that is regulating them, it is up to FDA to liaise with them to make sure they are doing the right thing. But if you ask me as an individual that I'm going to buy something that I should go and inspect their facility, they won't even allow you to cross a certain line. So please, you have to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really enjoying the practical questions that are
It's a
coming in.
scholastic.
Yeah,
Scholastic, I will note it.
yeah. I mean, so now you feel the frustration, Prince. You see why we wanted you to come here, and I
Yes,
think
Doc.
you've really given me the comfort now to be very confident to speak to our clients as far as some of these issues are concerned. I'm really, really grateful. There are a couple of questions here that I would want to ask from my feed before I go to the ones in the chat box. Nana says that good evening, Dr. TK, and good evening, Prince. If FDA had such great people to explain these things, why do we always struggle? Oh my goodness. My question to Prince is this. There are times they ask us to include all the ingredients of our products and services in the application form. What is the guarantee that if I add my active ingredient or my trade secret into the documentation, what is the guarantee that your people will not steal my idea or take my idea and give it to somebody else? Especially in Ghana today, where people have money and they are looking for all kinds of opportunities to run businesses. How would you advise me on this, please? Prince? So I think
Yeah, Doc.
this is asking about
Ye-
intellectual property, trade secrets.
yes. I understand why somebody would want to think that way, but one, our officers are professionals, and two, even that should be the first one. As part of our conditions for our employment, every officer is under an oath of secrecy, and so
Oh,
you cannot divulge information.
okay.
We are guided by that. Every
Okay.
officer is under oath of secrecy, so you cannot divulge information. And for the many years that I've worked with FDA, I've not had anybody coming to complain that I brought this to FDA and the formula I brought has been has found its way into the public domain, or someone else has been given the formula. And interestingly, I don't know, all of us in there, no one seems to be interested in whatever we are regulating. So I don't have any of my colleagues who is into manufacturing or whatever. I'll be rest assured.
All right. How
No
about if
one
the
will
person?
divulge the
How
information.
about if the person works for you for a while, sees a very good product and all the ingredients, and decides to resign from FDA and do something else and start the same business? Is that a possibility? Hello,
We
Prince.
are yet to encounter that, Doc.
Okay, I agree. Thank you very much. All right, so there are a few questions in the chat box, and then see if you could answer a couple of them. So we have, okay, so I think we answered that of Zenab and then Emanuela. And then Michael says that, thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation. Thank you to Michael. I mean, all kudos goes to Prince for that excellent presentation. And then, I mean, your ability to break down this complex technical FDA products jargons into this simple presentation really is really appreciative. I'm grateful. Jennifer says that,
Thank you, Doc.
yeah, Jennifer says, great presentation, sir. About our number one public health burden is with non-communicable disease, especially DM. What is DM? Okay. FDA has approved a lot of products which put people at risk of developing DM. So if you say you take products to the lab for testing, how come some products are on the market? Prince, you have an idea what a DM is?
Maybe diabetes mellitus.
Maybe, yeah. So,
It's
okay.
diabetes cell.
Okay, great. So this person is asking that if we take this product to the lab to test, why do we still have some of these products on the market and are causing a lot of problems for us, Prince?
Look, we are testing the product for its safety, microbiological safety and physicochemical safety, according to the Ghana standard. But we know, you see, from the basic principles of toxicology, there is nothing that can be regarded as safe. It is the dose, the quantity that determines safety from toxicity. So everything that we are taking into the body cannot be regarded as safe. But if you take it in excess of what the body can contain, that is when it becomes toxic to you. All the ingredients going in there, the synthetic ingredients or the flavors, the colors in there are ingredients that research has shown that they are regarded as safe. They can be used for food formulation. So first of all, we have to make sure that the ingredients being used for the food are approved food additives, are ingredients that are backed by science to be safe. But then the onus is now on the consumer to moderate the consumption of these products. If we are going to take them more than what the body can contain, just because FDA has approved them, then we will have issues. Yeah. But what we can tell the consumers is that it is our responsibility to ensure that every ingredient going into the product is a safe ingredient, it's an approved food additive. And therefore, after this, since the product has gone through a process of manufacturing, the product is also tested for its microbiological safety and physicochemical safety. After which, if we have a satisfactory lab result or outcome, then we can allow the product to be on the market. But the caution here is that just because the FDA has approved the product to be on the market doesn't mean that we will have to consume the product in excess of what the body can accommodate. If we go beyond moderation, then the safe product registered by FDA can turn out to be toxic to our system.
I get it. Right. Thank you very much, Prince. There's another one from Jennifer saying that there was a product called A1, white in color, which was banned but still on the market. Food vendors are still using it despite the health risk. What is FDA doing about these products? Secondly, if you purchase a product as a customer and detect that it's substandard with FDA approved stamp on it, do you report to the FDA or to the manufacturer? All right, good question there from Jennifer.
Doc, please, the first one, you mentioned a banned something, which she's saying is still on the market.
Yeah, it said the product called A1. I think one of these.
Please, the name, I lost it.
A1. I think it's used for cooking. A1.
Doc, I think it's monosodium glutamate, MSG.
I think so. Yeah.
MSG is a flavor enhancer. It's not a banned food additive. It's an approved food additive.
Okay. All right. And her question,
it's not been banned. It's an approved food additive.
Okay. Her second question is that if you bought a product and it was defective or substandard, do you report to the consumer or you report to FDA for redress?
Yeah, please, the first place should be FDA.
Okay.
In most cases, people go back to where they purchased it. They don't get amicable resolution, and then they now turn to FDA. And when you bring the complaint to FDA, we are supposed to investigate the complaint. But then if you have already gone to the place of purchase, by the time we get there, the investigation will be compromised. Either they remove them. Sometimes out of anger, consumers tell the people that I'm going to report you to FDA. They are not stupid to wait for you to bring FDA to them.
Yeah.
So by the time we get there, the evidence has been compromised. The product is no longer on the shelf. The person can even deny by selling it to you. And if there is no evidence of purchasing the product from them, whatever we are doing is guided by law. And evidence is the name of the game when it comes to some of these things. So the first place to fall on when you come across a counterfeit or any suspicious product is to bring the complaint to FDA and not to go to where you purchase it. Bring it to us and let us go into it. When you go ahead of us, you compromise the investigation, and in most cases, we are not able to resolve it as expected. So please, when we come across such products, kindly inform FDA. You don't need to walk to our office. Let me, at this point, put out the office line.
Yeah.
So that it's also a WhatsApp line. So you can call, send a message, a normal text message or WhatsApp message, and we will respond to it. So, Doc, if you permit me, can I
Yes,
mention the
yes,
number,
please, you can go
office
ahead.
number?
Yes.
So please, it's 050 or say 0507 0507 18 74 20 0507 18 74 20. So if you come across any product that you suspect to be unregistered, counterfeit, substandard, you can report to us on the number given, and then we will act on it. It's a WhatsApp line, so you can also send a WhatsApp and send a picture of the product as well to guide us or aid us to investigate it. The first point of call is not to go back to where you purchased the product from. It will compromise the investigation we need to carry out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince. Interestingly, today is the only program we've had on this program where we've gone more than 20 minutes. This is interesting. And all the people that are here have been here since we started. Congratulations and thank you all very much for making time and staying up to this point. It means that this topic is so important to all of you. All right, great. A couple of questions. Prince, at what point do you go to a shop or a manufacturer to close the person's business or to allow the person to produce or to sell the product?
Look, it depends on the situation. There are a lot of things we do without closing. But then if the violation is a safety violation, then we need to put the interest of the consumer first by closing the place to prevent further products from coming from the facility onto the market. And so if the violation we are observing is a food safety violation, and then we will have to close the facility down. So to prevent similar products or same products from being put in trade by the manufacturer.
Great. Thank you very much. Diana says that, is it possible for me to bring a product for testing and later producing a substandard product for the market?
It is possible. It is possible. It is possible for people to do it, but it is not possible for them to escape because FDA has what we call the post-registration market surveillance activity, where we move on the market to physically inspect products that are in trade. Over here, we are looking for unregistered products. We are also looking for registered products that the manufacturer might have changed even the information on the label after registration or the composition of the product. So during such activities, some of the products are sampled, are picked from trade at the blind side of the manufacturer, and the products are subjected to laboratory analysis again, just to be able to establish whether the products are being produced to conform to the standard based on which the product was registered for. So yes, there is a possibility for somebody to do that, but the person cannot run away. The person will be found out.
Great. Thank you very much. Doris says, good evening, everyone. Please, I'm also facing the challenge of FDA system migration. And since January, I've still not received both facility and product registration. All right. So Doris, I would really encourage you to call the number that Prince has just given out to you. And I'm sure if you mention Prince's name, whoever picks up the call would be very willing to connect you to Prince for us to get it done quickly for you because of time.
Yes, please.
All right. So now Adote also is asking, can we get your personal number? Is it possible, please?
Oh, Doc, it's possible. So it's 0244.
Okay, 0244
97
97
77
77
00.
00. Please, that's Prince's number. We are going to put it in the page now. And please don't call him and later in the evening. Let's call him only at work times, during work times, so that we don't really go to embarrass him and worry him too much, because I'm sure there are a lot of products, a lot of customers he deals with. Let's make sure, try as much as possible to work within the official time so that we can get him a piece. Prince, my last question to you is that if you go to certain shops, some of the supermarkets you have in this country, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of products. How sure are we that every single product in that shop is certified by FDA and they are wholesome for us to eat?
Doc, the surety is that every product that is on the market per law must first be registered by the FDA. If you doubt any product on the market, okay, there are some clues that can guide you to know whether the product you are holding is registered or not. One is the FDA registration number, which should be on the product. But then, aside the FDA registration number, the labeling information on the product, as I mentioned earlier, there are some mandatory information that must be on the label. It gives you a clue whether it's a registered product or not. So when you look out for the information on the label and you are not seeing the terms, and then another clue is that if there should be any language on the label, any language, if the labeling information is in any language, then you, which is not English, you are also supposed to see our preferred language when it comes to labeling is English. If the manufacturer wants to put any other language there, and you don't find English.
Oh, I think we are losing Prince. Hello, Prince.
Language on the label, and the information on the label is in any other language apart from any other language other than English, and you are not seeing the corresponding English translation there. Gosh.
Oh,
The
okay.
network again.
I think you are back now. All right. So I think I heard all the everything
yes,
that you
Doc,
said.
I was say,
Okay, please go ahead.
I'm saying that the mandatory language for any label is English. If the manufacturer wants to put any other language there, the English translation must also be there. So if you pick any product and you don't see English language as part of the labeling information, it tells you that that product has not been registered by FDA. So these are some of the clues. And sometimes if the price is also too good to be true, then it should also strike you that the possibility that the product has not gone through registration is also high. You know that just recently, just this week, I received a complaint, a similar complaint like this from one of our workers. There's a product that she's been buying on the market every day, and she knows the price of the product. This time she goes to the shop and the price has been reduced drastically, but she bought it. She now got to the office, and I think she wasn't comfortable, so she brought it to my office and was telling me about the product. We did our checks and realized that this one was a counterfeit of the original. And the price difference alone was enough to have given her a clue that no, this is not the original product. So aside this, we are doing our best on daily basis. We are on the field looking out for products on the market to ensure that they are products that are registered by FDA. The unregistered ones are being flashed out. But I must say that we cannot say that at every point in time, every product in trade is a registered product. That is why we educate, like the information I've given out there, to guide all of us when we are purchasing products. And when we come across any product that we suspect or we doubt the registration status of the product, please let's inform FDA through the number I've given so that we can act on it. Together, we can make sure products on our market are safe for all of us to use.
Thank you very much, Prince. It's been a very insightful discussion tonight. And this is what we do here every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. And all that we do is to bring people like yourselves to come and share with us what it takes to really build a very successful business. I'm happy the fact that when you started talking, you talk about the fact that you didn't start as an entrepreneur, but now you understand a bit more about who we are and what we do and the frustration that we go through. We are very, very grateful tonight. But before I do the final one, I would like to find a very sweet lady tonight to just say thank you to Prince for us. Either I call on Nana Adote, or I call on Franca to give us a very sweet thank you before I go off now. So now, are you available to do that for us, please?
Yes, I'm available, Dr. TK.
Hey, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Yeah, even though my mental Franca may have wanted to do that anyway. So thank you so much, Mr. Opoku. Dr. TK, you are the best, you know. And I've been but this is a prayer answered for me personally, and I believe that it is for a lot of people too. And because I started today, one of the things I did was actually to open the FDA, trying to get their website or something just to get information. And I just got all of them within an hour and a half. So I am grateful. And I believe that I'm speaking for every single person on the call right now, for my bosses, Franca, and every other person. So, Dr. TK, thank you for doing this every Thursday. Thank you for doing it for free. Thank you for helping entrepreneurs. You are a shareholder in all of our businesses, and we are truly grateful. Mr. Opoku, we cannot say thank you enough. Words will not be enough, but just so you know, you have done so much for a lot of entrepreneurs on the call tonight. And we are going to take all of those things into action, because we heard people say that they took one document and they had to go back and go there again. There was a lot of back and forth. But tonight, from what we have learned, we are not going to experience that because of the knowledge you have given us. So thank you for taking time out. Thank you for the answers you gave. Sometimes some of the questions came, and I was wondering, what is he going to say? But he ended up giving us really good practical answers, which I believe went down well with all of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, HiPAC. Long live HiPAC. Long live all our businesses. And when we call you for assistance, we believe that you would help us out. We are grateful. God bless you, Dr. TK, Mr. Opoku. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadote. Frank, Prince, this sweet boy is there. After she's spoken, I have nothing else to say. Oh, you have to sleep well tonight. You have to sleep with this sweet boy is there. I beg, bro. This is all for you. I mean, deep down from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you very much. We don't get people from those government institutions to do this lightly for us. Sometimes it takes a lot of hustle to do this, but you willingly, as soon as I mentioned, you said no, put me on, and I'm grateful. I'll connect with you again very soon for us to talk about some other things. So on behalf of my team here, right here at HiPAC Services, we say thank you very much. Have a good night, and good night to everyone as well for taking time to join us tonight. Let's meet again next week, Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. for another insightful topic. Have a good night and bye-bye to all. Go and build your business to last.
Bye.
Bye-bye.